Chapter 4 of The Adventures of Uncle Billy Possum. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by James K. White. The Adventures of Uncle Billy Possum by Thornton W. Burgess. Chapter 4. Bobby Coon Enters the Wrong House. After Uncle Billy Possum had arranged with Skimmer the Swallow, who was going south, to take a message to his family in Old Virginny, telling them to come and join him in the Green Forest, he at once began to make preparations to receive them. Uncle Billy isn't any too fond of work. He had a lot rather that someone else should do the work for him, and he is smart enough to fix it so that usually someone else does. But getting ready to receive his family was different. No one else could arrange things to suit him. This was Uncle Billy's own job, and he tended right to it every minute of the day. First of all, he had to clean house. He had been keeping Bachelor's Hall so long in the big hollow tree that things were not very tidy. So Uncle Billy cleaned house, and while he worked, he whistled and sang. Peter Rabbit, passing that way, overheard Uncle Billy singing, "My old woman is way down south. Come along, come along. Ain't nothing sharper than the tongue in her mouth. Come along, come along. She once was pretty, but she ain't no mo'. But she cooks my meals and she sweeps my floor. She darns my stockings and she mends my coat, and she knows just how my chillin' for to tote. Come along, come along. My pickaninnies am a headin' this way. Come along, come along. Daddy am a watchin' for 'em day by day. Come along, come along. My ole head aches when I thinks of de noise. Dere's bound to be wid dem gals and boys. But I don't care if it busts in two, if de good Lord brings dem chillun true. Come along, come along." Every little while Uncle Billy Possum would sit down to rest, for he wasn't used to so much real work. But finally he got his house clean and made as comfortable as possible, and about that time he began to think how good an egg would taste. The more he thought about it, the more he wanted that egg. "It's no use talking. I just naturally have to have that egg," said Uncle Billy to himself. And off he started for Farmer Brown's. Now Uncle Billy was hardly out of sight when along came Bobby Coon. Bobby Coon was absent-minded, or else he was so sleepy that he didn't know what he was doing, for Bobby Coon had been out all night. Anyway, when he reached Uncle Billy Possum's hollow tree, he began to climb up it just as if it were his own. He looked in at Uncle Billy's door. There was the most comfortable bed that he had seen for a long time. He looked this way and he looked that way. Nobody was in sight. Then he looked in at Uncle Billy's door once more. That bed certainly did look soft and comfortable. Bobby Coon chuckled to himself. "I believe I'll just see if that bed is as comfortable as it looks," said he. And 2 minutes later Bobby Coon was curled up fast asleep in Uncle Billy Possum's bed. End of Chapter 4. Recording by James K. White, Chula Vista.